Good morning, CaneSport. It's September 22nd, 2021. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, before we get to all the stories that are on the website this morning, I think we should circle back a little bit and touch on yesterday. We talked about how Manny Diaz was going to try to bring more physicality to practices and try to improve the tackling. They talked about going one-on-ones more often. They talked about full hitting more often than they have in the past. We were only able to watch one segment of practice for like about 15, 20 minutes. So we have a small sample size. I think we saw some wrinkles to the drills that they typically do. They didn't have the usual tackling circuit with tires and things like that. They were thumping a little bit more than we've seen them do in the past. We didn't see anybody tackling anybody to the ground. And then they used a sled for some other tackling drills and things. So the rally cry was that they are going to be doing a lot more heavy hitting, and they said they were. We didn't get to see a ton of it, so it's hard for us to really evaluate how big of a difference it's going to make. But I guess the big question is that they're not going to get a true read this Saturday on if they're making any progress at all in this regard. It really, the final exam really won't come until they play Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, they claim they will just by seeing if guys are using the right technique and all that other stuff. You know, we did get out there for the starter practice before we were even allowed out there. A lot of hooting and hollering and energy, so to speak, you know, but it's just a little mind-boggling that it took this to sort of get some energy on the practice field. Like, I still can't wrap my head around that. But, you know, today did seem more energetic. I don't know why starting 1 and 2 makes the team more energetic. But there was energy out there today. I guess that's good. And, yeah. And you know, we'll start to see if any of these tackling drills are paying off, or, you know, and that sort of thing. Is just a little discouraging, obviously, how the season's going so far.
It is, but, you know, you can't do anything about it. You know, they've lost those 2 games so far this year. They're done, finished, and all they can look at is the future. And I know everybody's focused on firing Manny Diaz, getting a replacement and all that, but it's really only the 4th game of the season. There's a whole season ahead here, an entire ACC schedule, and all they can do is look forward and try to correct the problems that they've had. They can't, you know, be chasing ghosts or anything like that. They can't be worried about, as coaches, about getting fired or anything along those lines. Just keep trying to get ready week for week for these games, and then let it all hang out on game day. I mean, that's really all they can do. You know, the thing is, just for a frame of reference for everybody, I mean, there are times when you go out there for practice and it's noticeably quiet, like almost like you feel like you're in a library, in all seriousness. Today, like Matt said, it was very different from that. Now, was it artificial? Was it natural? You know, who knows? But there clearly was a concerted attempt to amp up the energy in practice, make it a more, I mean, would festive be the word, Matt? You know, boisterous? You know, I'm not quite sure what adjective to use, but there clearly was an effort to amp things up out there.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So, like, Rob Likens and T-Rob were definitely the leaders in terms of yelling and getting guys fired up. Like, I just don't understand. Like, this is what I keep saying. I can't wrap my head around it. Why now? Like, why weren't these guys the vocal leaders on the practice field 4 or 5 weeks ago, getting guys, like, ready like they were today? Back then, like, coaches are coaches. Like, they've been doing this a long time. They're both excellent coaches. They know what to do. So I just don't understand. I guess now they finally identified that, oh my gosh, enthusiasm's a problem on the team because we're not doing well. I guess that's why they're doing it now. But
T-Rob always brings it. I mean,
not like today. Not like today. We have videotaped him all the time. It was nothing like what he did today.
You thought you saw a noticeable difference.
Have you ever heard him using expletives at guys like he did today, over and over and over again?
Absolutely have. Yeah.
No, I have not. And I've been there every practice. Once in a while, not constantly. No way.
I mean, it might have been, you know, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. I mean, it might have been a marginal.
Fans can go back and look at the other videos we've done. It's not even close.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody could. They're all on our YouTube channel. They're all there. So I guess everybody can judge for themselves. I felt there was a slight uptick in what he would usually be putting out during drills with his DBs. I didn't think it was massive in his regard. But the other coaches noticeably we're trying to amp it up a little bit. Hopefully, it'll have a positive effect. All right, stories on the website this morning. We've got a recruiting story on 4-star offensive tackle Malik Agbo, and this is a guy that remains a very key recruit for Miami. They're in a tough battle. I mean, you look at who they're competing against: Oklahoma, Florida, Auburn, Arizona State. This is not going to be an easy win, and you got to hope that he's looking at the offensive line, and he kind of suggested this, and rather than looking at how they're playing as a negative, he's looking at it as an opportunity to play early. So Miami's fighting really hard for that one. A real important recruit. We give you an update on everything he's thinking and talking about right now this morning on the website. Is there any question who's wide receiver 1 on this team after Charleston Rambo's school record tying performance against Michigan State? I don't think so. Rhett Lashley targeted Rambo early and often in that game. Michigan State cooperated by not covering him very tightly, and we're making a lot of those pitches and catches very easy. But Matt, I think this is something that we probably totally agree on, that Rambo is separating himself from the other receivers as the guy in this offense this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little disappointing. There's no wide receiver 2 we'd say is doing great. I mean, Keyshawn Smith has so much talent. Mike Harley coming back after such a great year. At some point they're going to need somebody to step up and not only be Charleston Rambo show here. But yeah, I was surprised last game. I mean, Rambo's got a lot of speed, and they were giving him, I don't know, an 8-yard cushion pretty much every snap. So, he was getting free releases off the line. He could have had 20 catches last game if they wanted to. But yeah, he's an extraordinary talent. I mean, it was a huge transfer portal pickup from Miami getting him. And now, again, we got to find a wide receiver 2. We got to find a tight end that'll hold on to the ball. I mean, it's like, he's the bright spot in the offense along with Eric King. And other than that, you can't really point to anybody. I was talking about this with somebody, another reporter this morning, yesterday morning, who's gotten better on this team since last year? Who's come back and gotten better?
Great question.
On the offensive side, I would argue nobody. Jalen Rivers would have been one, but he's hurt. On the defensive side, who's gotten better? Aside from the kids who are brand new, I'm not sure I'd say any of them. It's bizarre, having such a veteran team and just not seeing any progress from any of them. I don't understand how that can be. Yeah,
in terms of guys catching the ball, I mean, I'm trying to think we haven't seen that very much from Will Mallory drops, and I'm thinking that kid's probably thinking he hasn't really gotten going so far this season, and he's anxious and wants to get going, and he probably just lost his concentration for a second out of pure anxiety of making a play. Harley has had a couple drop issues the first few games. Last year, like the coaches say, he was reliable, so I'm not quite sure what the reason for that would be. I think we'll see Restrepo targeted a little bit more and Keyshawn Smith targeted a little bit more. So the potential is there for them to have quality receivers and tight ends to catch the football. They just got to get it done on game day. All right, other stories on the site this morning. We have a preview on Central Connecticut State, the opponent on Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium. Get fired up, Canes fans, for that one. We talked to T-Rob. We mentioned T-Rob earlier. We talked to T-Rob about the challenges of improving tackling on the football team and, his perspective on what is going on there. That's an interesting story for you to check out. If you missed last night's CaneSport live show, we've got the podcast on the website this morning. Make sure you listen to that. A lot of real animated conversation, obviously, on what's going on with the team at the moment. And then we're actually starting to take a look at 2024 recruiting now that the high school football season has started. You got that sophomore class out there starting to make an impact on Friday nights. And we give you a little update on the defensive backs that are starting to emerge in that 2024 recruiting class. So a lot for you to digest this morning. We'll have more practice reports, update from Manny Diaz and other things later on in the day. So encourage you to keep checking back on the website as the day goes forward. Otherwise, everybody, enjoy your day. Thank you for watching Good Morning CaneSport today, and we'll see you tomorrow.